Hello everybody. How y'all doing? How are you doing tonight? This is Strengthinone. So, I wanted to talk about Warframe this time. And I know I have two videos in the past, and at the same time I wanted to discuss as to why I came back to Warframe. And I said to myself, you know what, I had a few friends on here that wanted to learn Warframe, to actually play Warframe and wanted to learn Warframe again. And then eventually I found a new clan, and that clan has basically welcomed me home. So, but also at the same time, I realized that, maybe I should also get myself better over time. And so for the past, I want to say 4 months, I've actually been doing that. And I have been having a blast. And what I wanted to talk about this time are my favorite five Warframes. And this one here being Limbo Prime, my Dark Magician. No, not Dante. He's another magician. But anyway, I'll bring us some enemies out here real quick, simulate, and I'll show you what he can actually do. And first things first, with his passive, he just basically goes into a stasis, and he's immune to practically everything. So here's what I can do, right, is force Cataclysm and Stasis. They're all stuck in place. As I use my Warframe Prime to just get them away. And look at that. So inside this bubble, it's basically an 80-second, well, basically a minute and a half of whatever I can do to any enemy that's inside here, or outside here for that matter. But only who's ever inside the stasis of what enemy here can actually kill them. That includes myself. Outside, like I can't shoot outside here because it will just bounce all over the place inside the bubble. See? I'm sorry, I can shoot outside, I'm sorry about that. But have to read on that. But anyway, this bubble is really good for protecting different objectives. Enemies can't get in. You get the stasis active. They'll just, as I showed you, just freeze in place. And most players don't like him because of how much he does stop time. Like he's a borderline troll. But that's my first one. Well, number 5 on my list. So number 4 on my list is, what's her face? One of the first primes I had ever gotten in this game, and also one of my favorite ones to use on a regular basis. Especially when it comes to different missions like exterminate, sabotage, capture, or even spy for that matter. And her name is Titania. And here's why I love her to death. And here's the funny part, I only use her force, besides Nourish. So simulate, and just watch them happen. While my drones are just messing with their heads for a bit, I'm just swinging away. And those drones also are matched based off your personal strength. But at the same time, I love using her to death because of how easy it is for her to move. You know, also has somewhat of a control zone arc lane because she can do this miniature burst, as you can see here. And yeah, most players just stay inside this form the whole time. Now, unless there's a bolt or somebody is also increasing my speed, that's the only problem I have. Other than that, she is fun to use and very versatile when needed. Now, for my number 3 on my list is Cervo. Cervo is a frame that you can get from Nuveri, or you can buy him as well too, but he is well worth the build. Reason being is because of his 2 main skills that I use to death other than Terrify, and I barely use Wrath of Levance because I mostly just use them to run and gun. The only time I ever use a melee for him is with the Glaive Prime. Only, again, only because when I'm using the Collective Curse, I just want to make sure I kill everybody as fast as possible. And Recompense also gives them Overguard, which you'll see in a short minute. So, spawn more enemies. As you can see, the Overguard has powered up. Collective Curse. And look at that. Look at that. Lovely, isn't it? But yeah, with that Overguard, you can see that, you know, he's not that hard to keep alive. But he's also really fun to use on a regular basis. But as you've been noticing, I've been talking about the ones I personally enjoy. I have not shown you any builds. I've not shown you directly as to how I did, you know, A, B, and C. Yes, you might see my Archon shards, but I have not shown you what those Archon shards actually have. Again, this video is just to show you how much I'm enjoying the game. Not so much as me detailing what you should get, what you should have, but just to enjoy, you know, the flow of doing other missions on a regular basis. Like another one who is on my number 2 list of Warframes to use is Hilden. Hilden is a frame that's really useful when it comes to protection, especially when it comes to helping other players out. So I'll simulate one more time, and I'll bring up Haven, which will basically just tie into every single enemy that's in the bunch. And as you can see, I almost hit them, and just kill them all. Eventually, come on. Alright, that's perfect, isn't it? So, Hilden is great when it comes to using your pillage, where we have Blazing Pillage, where you can armor strip and also burn them to death. And I gave her a skill on here where basically, if she loses all her armor shields, it's going to cost a lot, but those shields will come right on back with just, I don't know, 725 worth of her shields. And plus, her shields can be used for practically anything when it comes to her skills, including your Railjack, like basically how Lavos has a cooldown. You can use her shields instead of energy in order to power up, in order to use the skills of Railjack, like Secret Volley or something like that. All right, that's the number. I want to say 2 on my list because I went through. Who did I go through? I went through Limbo, Titania, Cervo, and Hilden, and here's my number 1. And he is the one who is getting the rework. He is the one that players hate to death because he has almost no skills. He is the one that everybody has shitted on a regular basis, and that name is Inaros Prime. Inaros Prime, one of my favorite ones because of the fact that he is nothing but a tank. And I will show you here, I purposely made sure that he is a tank. Even though he has well over 1200 armor, whatnot, and doesn't have the same armor stats as my Rhino, doesn't have the same stats as my Cervo, that doesn't mean this man can tank. And I gave him Terrified, just to, you know, put icing on the cake, you know. So, simulate again. And yeah, I'm just going to be shut up a little bit. It took a little while for them to actually kill me. Like a Terrify on them. Even though they're running away, you can see already right now that I'm still having health regenerated over time. It's a lovely thing, isn't it? Like, he is very useful when it comes to just basic star card, or even when it comes to fighting, you know, new or old enemies later on. Like, I even used to bring him on a regular basis to the Archon hunts. I would bring him in Sealed Path, and I love the fact that he was able to, for once, survive. likely, especially since I sadly didn't use, is Scarab Armor. Well, Burgers. What's that skill called? Hang on a second. There we go, Scarab Swarm. So as you can see, I didn't even use it originally. So if I use it again, now let's try the same simulation. He is not getting killed at all. And these aren't still path heads, these aren't still path enemies, but they're still enemies. Also one of the chunkiest in, in the game as is. But he's fun to use because he is just there to keep himself alive. Sometimes it's not always about the most damage you can do. Sometimes it's not always about, oh, this is a meta, or this one needs a rework, this one needs this one needs that. No, just pick the ones that you actually enjoy. And Inaros right here is one that I personally enjoy the most. I enjoy the story. I enjoyed the fact of me, farming him on a regular basis and stuff like that. Like I was bringing him around practically everywhere. Especially when I got into Steel Path, I farmed with him when I got into when DACA first came out. So he is really fun to use. Like I said, it's just that you don't worry about the hype when it comes to the Warframes you wish to use. Give them a shot. Give some of these Warframes that aren't in the meta a shot. You don't have to abide by what everybody else is doing. But yeah, so as I showed you, my top five going from 5 to 1: Limbo, Titania, Cervo, Hilden, and Inaros. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and I really do hope you enjoy this 11-year-old game. Warframe is a fun game. Deals with a lot of math and science, as I've always told myself. But just have fun with the Warframes that you see. Don't worry about what's the best one out there, because you'll never enjoy yourself while you're playing it. All right? I hope you enjoyed my video, and I hope you see you in the next one when it comes to me discussing my top 5 weapons in Warframe. Good day.